Hello, everyone. Welcome. I hope you people are buckled up for this one because I don't know where the hell it's going to go. All right, welcome. This is the Our Turf Football Podcast.
Strapping in.
I am Dana. We have Kate. We have Lisa. Sonia, smart, bailed on this one. She's like, I think I'm going to work instead. And so she's off working. I have my hat on for a reason. This is as close as I have to a referee hat because might be throwing some flags during this. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting show. So I am glad that you guys are all here. I can already see Kristen and Darcy in our comments. If you guys are watching over on Twitter, if you are watching over on Facebook, please come over to the YouTube channel. Y'all going to have some opinions on this one. So I think we need you over here so that we can see you. Hello, Big Red. Hello, Sue. Everyone that is coming in, please come on over and join us at YouTube. All right. Before we get started, of course, we need to thank our sponsor. Donkey's Place Cheesesteak has 3 locations in New Jersey, Medford, Mount Holly, and Camden. They have been our sponsor for 5 years. You know why? Because they think we're funny. And thank God we're funny because sometimes you got to take this game with a little bit of humor. But if you cannot get to New Jersey to try one of their cheesesteaks, please go to goldbelly.com. You can look up Donkey's Place Cheesesteaks and they will send them directly to your home. I will tell you. They are the reason that you guys don't have to listen to commercials during our podcast. So everybody follow them on social media. Say thank you for that, for nothing else. All right, everybody. Hello, Bob. Hello, everyone that's popping up. Sue says, hi, Dana. Hi, Sue. Thanks for saying hi back. I love that. All right. Just everybody needs to take a deep breath because
Sue.
we got, okay. Big Red, my darling, dear friend, Big Red. Is Lisa okay with my Panthers beating her Dolphins? No, she's not. And that is going to be a huge part of this conversation today. But that is not where we are starting, ladies and gentlemen. Last week,
where should we start?
Should we
start with the owner that flipped people off? Should we start with the coach that beat the crap out of his player? Should we start with, I don't know, say 2 coaches that should be unemployed today? But
we need NFL bingo cards.
Really?
Because none of these things were on my bingo card. That happened this week.
This was I did the game of the week. I did the Seahawks Tampa Bay game, which honest to God was the best game of the week. It was back and forth. It was crazy. I got ripped to shreds. I was telling the girls because I was sad that Seattle didn't win that game, but that game was so fun. I wasn't mad, and I got ripped to shreds for not being mad. And that means I'm not a true fan. But I will tell you, every other game was a little weird. And then all the stuff that happened on the sidelines was weird. And then the owners get into it. It was the most bizarre week of football. I don't know what happened, but let's start. Last week, Kate and Sonia and I went over the 0-4 teams, or the teams that were at the bottom there, kind of where were they, how we thought they were going to do. The funny thing, Kate, is we talked about there was one team we didn't think belonged there. And that's the same team that still is at 0. It's 0-4 instead of 0-3. And that is, or I'm sorry, 0-5 now. That is the Jets. I still think, Kate, that the Jets are better than a 0-win team. And I don't know why. They just can't finish these games.
They can't. And I don't know if it's the season, if there's something weird going on this year, but in general, we don't have an undefeated team, and they are the only winless team left in 5 weeks in.
Right.
And just, I think there's a curse somewhere. Maybe we need to have Connie come on and talk to her if this happens again next week, because they're better than 0-5.
I think so.
They're better than 0-5.
Yeah, it's really weird. We did this last week. We looked over it. They are losing these games by like 2 points, right? Yeah. They lost by 2 points to the Steelers. They did lose by 20 to the Bills, which understandable. But 2 points to the Bucks. It's just strange. This week they lost 37-22 to the Cowboys. I'm looking at their schedule coming up. This week does not look better. They have to play the Broncos. Then they get the Panthers. They get the Bengals. They get the Browns. They get the Patriots and the Ravens, who are a 1-4 team. Who would have thought that? They do get the Falcons. So there is some opportunity there to make ground, but I'm just still real shocked at that.
We thought Justin and Garrett Wilson kind of have a thing after week 4.
Right.
They weren't even in the same time zone for week 5. I don't know what. Couldn't get a catch, couldn't get a touchdown, couldn't get anything going. The turnovers were not. Dallas played way better than I gave Dallas credit for being able to play, and the Jets it was weird. It was
a weird game.
Listen, who do you think the happiest man on the planet is watching the Jets implode? Would that be one Aaron Rodgers?
Well, let me tell you, he's not all that much better. So
I know, but still, I'd rather be where he is than this mess.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Well, this week we promised you guys that we were going to look at the top teams in the league and kind of if we thought they deserved to be there or not. So let's go ahead and look. As Kate said, there are no undefeated teams left. Both undefeated teams were beaten this weekend. What did you say, Lisa?
That's all I got.
That's all you got, Liva. That's it. There's nobody left, right? She got her 72 Dolphins. All right. So, but both the Bills and the Eagles were defeated this weekend. The Bills sit at 4-1. And then you have to kind of scroll down a bit. I mean, the Steelers are at 3-1. They had a bye week this week. But then you have the AFC South, which we need to talk about here in just a second. But let's then look at the National Football Conference, the NFC. We have the Eagles at 4-1. You have the Niners. I don't know how San Francisco is 4-1, but they are. You have the Lions at 4-1 and the Buccaneers at 4-1. All the Buccaneers have really squeaked out every single one of their games, which is fine. Still a win, right?
Right.
So when we look at these, the AFC West, that was kind of the juggernaut for a long time. You had the Chiefs always sitting at the top. The Chiefs are in third place in their division at 2-3 right now. The Chargers and the Broncos are tied at 3-2. There doesn't seem to be a real hot top, like an obvious winner of that division right now, which is a little strange.
No consistency.
The Bills, right. The Bills and the Patriots are kind of sitting atop the AFC East. The AFC North, Kate, this one is weird to me because you have the Steelers at 3-1, the Bengals at 2-3, and the Ravens and the Browns at 1-4. This is not what we predicted for that division. Let's just put it that way.
No, and the scheduling shenanigans continue. Pittsburgh comes home from being overseas and they get a bye week. We come back from overseas and we get to play Pittsburgh, who is just rested on their bye week. Why don't I get a bye week?
Well, that means that your team opted not to do it because the option is always to have the bye week after you play overseas and the team can opt out of it.
Looking at the way Kevin Stefanski called that offense and his clock management skills, it wouldn't surprise me if he said, no, thank you. Let's play the best team in our division right as soon as we get back from overseas.
So let's talk about your big news that you had today for your team. Listen, I'm telling you.
Wait, where's my glass?
No.
I need one.
Calls for the Weller 12 here, Dana.
Okay.
I can't drink on the air, but y'all know.
Why can't we drink on the air? What's wrong
with
that?
Drink on the air.
I think you're a rule,
Here's the thing. Okay. This is what I'm talking. That's why I got the hat. Okay, so the thing of it is that it was announced today that the Browns have traded Joe Flacco. Now, this is not a surprise. Cincinnati apparently put out feelers for everyone. They talked about Russell Wilson. They talked about Jameis Winston. They talked to all these people. And the Browns were willing to part with Joe Flacco. Kate, I can tell by your expression how you feel about this, but why don't you let everybody know how you feel about this?
So here's Joe Flacco in a 6th for a 5th. You have traded the only quarterback on your active roster with any experience to a team in your division. We have not traded with the Bengals since 1999 because you don't trade quarterbacks or anybody with a team in your division. I went and looked at the depth chart after this was done. Unsurprising, Dylan Gabriel is my QB1. He will be my starter this week against Pittsburgh. Let's all pray for him if you're a prayer kind of person. QB2 is Shedeur Sanders. I expected to see Bailey Zappi time at QB3. No. He who shall not be named, Deshaun Watson, is officially on the depth chart as QB3. Is he not on an island somewhere entertaining his fiance and recovering from his injury?
I didn't know that, Kate.
He
Oh
hasn't
my God.
stepped foot in the state of Ohio since last season, and he's QB3 on my roster, on my depth chart. I don't know what's going on. Dylan Gabriel looked pretty good last week. I got to give him that for his first start being in London against the Vikings, whose defense is pretty good. If it wasn't for the way the head coach managed the clock and did some of the things he did in the last few minutes, we might have actually hung on and won that game. Although 17 points is not enough. It's our high for the season. We've lost twice, Soren 17. We haven't scored more than 17 yet. You got to get to 21, people. But I don't understand. I don't understand the trade. And it scares me that it's opening the door to maybe have Deshaun back. I would have bet big money in Vegas that he didn't take a snap for the Browns this year. And
Forever.
And maybe I'm wrong, because this was just very bizarre. There are other quarterbacks out there that Cincinnati could have gotten. And for them to want Joe Flacco, what is it? Just our quarterback's name is Joe, and as long as your name is Joe, Jake Browning wasn't doing too bad, I didn't think. They've got other issues in Cincinnati. Now you've got Joe Flacco. Fun fact, they still have the Green Bay Packers on their roster. So if they win with Joe Flacco at quarterback, it'll be the first time since 1962 that a quarterback has beat the same team with two different teams.
Right, in the same year.
The Packers with the Bengals. That's a 40-some-year-old record that may break. And knowing Joe, he'll look really good there because it'll take him a while to be old. I know.
All right. So Sue says I'm having a beer in honor of Kate. Thank you very much. So then Steven says, so Browns and Miami seem like they all need a drink. Yeah. Yes. We got that for sure. So Big Red then asked,
did something.
Yeah.
At least the Browns are doing something. I don't even give
Lisa,
shit. I'm ready.
Lisa, we'll get to you. We'll get to you.
People. I want to trade people.
Okay. Hold on. Big Red says, is this one step closer to Shador starting? And Steven says, one more step closer to Shador starting. So, yeah.
I think math. There were clips all over the local news today because people, somebody texted Deion Sanders, his dad, and let him know. And so then they were calling him and asking him questions. And he's like, I don't care about what's going on with the Browns. I'm trying to coach my team over here. I can't be worried about. People took it as he doesn't care about the Browns. And if you listen to him in context, no, he's got other things to do. He can't be. His kid Shador has been very clear. Dad, you go do you. You leave me alone. I'm a grown-up now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Lisa, I'm sure your mom isn't calling Home Depot if she's not happy with the hours you're working. Like, our parents are not involved in our work. So people are trying to, if you hear that that's a thing, that's not a thing. He was just saying, I got other things on my plate. I'm not worried about the Browns. It's definitely a step up for Shador. I don't know how long they're going to let Gabriel go. It maybe depends on what our record is. I was talking earlier, I thought by week 10, we'd see Dylan. We saw him week 5. By week 10, if our record is not great, they may start Shador for a few weeks just to see what he is.
Yes, give him a chance.
I don't think they need both of them on the roster next year, but now you got to figure out which one you want to keep in a real game situation and which one you can trade for. So
Sue says, I don't know. I didn't know that about Watson at all. I didn't either. And although I do like Dylan, I think you're in good hands there. And then Kristen says they should give Watson a chance to earn his fat paycheck. Yeah, but he just brings so much drama. I don't know. Then God love Big Red Deshaun, Hansy McGee Watson is QB3. Inconceivable, he says. Gosh, love it. Although Sue's got a good point. Well done, Big Red. Sue says, Flacco was bad, though. So honestly, I don't think you're losing much. Just saying. I think it's the experience level is kind of what you were talking about before.
Even if they wanted to start Gabriel, I'd like to having Flacco in the locker room. There's Bailey Zappi is my veteran in the locker room.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah. kind of crazy. All right. So before we got started on that, there was a whole bunch of questions and comments up top here, guys. So I'm going to scroll back up. And Steven says, thank you for no commercials. You are so welcome. And Sue says, where do y'all start? Well, now you know, we started with Cleveland. So Kristen says, I'm worried about the Jags versus the Hawks this weekend. They look too good. Jags surprised a lot of people this weekend. I should say not this weekend, last night, as they played Kansas City. Although we have talked about how Kansas City is not really the team it has been in the past. They're definitely struggling with some things. But I don't think any of us picked Jacksonville to win this division. I didn't think so anyway. Sue says, I still can't get used to Darnold as a Seahawks quarterback. I'm really used to him and I'm loving it. So Darcy said this week, I think more bizarre was Arizona losing the way they did. That yeah, 1,000%. Sue says in there, I really thought the Jets would be better. Also, I think they have a good quarterback and thought a good coach. And Big Red, I'm not ignoring your Spencer. I'm going to get to it here in just a minute. I promise. Though he did say, where did this Patriots team come from? And Sunshine beating Kansas City. We live in bizarro world. That is very true. And then our good friend King James Radio, hello. It says, Kate is on to something because I have been saying for a long time that the Jets are cursed, point blank. Yeah, I think so too. Sue says the Bills, we're just getting it all. The Bills need a new DC and I've been saying it forever, but no one ever listened to me. We listened to you, Sue.
We listened to you.
So let's talk about this for just a little bit. The Jags are taking advantage of everyone's problems, and I'm not here for it. Well, I get that. And Big Red says, if Tampa makes the playoffs, do they wear the creamsicle uniforms as long as I think so. They were so pretty. I loved those. Those were great. All right. So let's get into kind of some of these oddities. And Lisa, you brought up one of them, Arizona. So Arizona, the Cardinals made some huge mistakes this weekend, including one certain running back that dropped the ball before he got into the end zone. Now, if you look at some of the camera angles, supposedly that ball broke the plane, but he didn't have control of it. It is very close.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. As Marshawn Lynch used to say, 2 steps in. You got to be 2 steps in before you do anything stupid, right? And
you take 2 steps, you take a knee, you wave to the crowd, and then you let that,
it's just ridiculous. That was not the only mistake they made. Huh? Yes.
Does he still have a job? Because those are the kind of things that get you in hot water, especially when that game ends up being that close.
So, but the more bizarre thing was the fumble, recovery, refumble, pick it up and fall on it in the end zone. And then they get to, I'm telling you, I'm not sure what was going on there. It was crazy. But the big news out of this game, obviously, is their head coach, Arizona's head coach, was fined $100,000 by the team, not the NFL today, for punching his player. Because we've all seen that video now where he's out there and he pushed the player and then he punched the player. And I think that, I know that Lisa and I don't agree with this, but what that shows is that the coach, in my opinion, the coach was not handling the moment as a leader. He could have yelled, screamed, done whatever he want. But when you start to get physical with your players, I think you start to lose respect in the locker room. And I think that's what the team is afraid of. My question is, how the hell hasn't he lost it already? I mean, this terrible team has been ever since he got there. So it's just so strange. Go ahead, Lisa. I know you have
It's just a frustrating thing. I think he did what every fan in Arizona was wanting to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just at the heat of the moment. And, I think he realized it real quick and after he calmed down and, apparently had a talk with the players and stuff like that. I mean, it's not like the guy's wearing a T-shirt for crying out loud. He's got freaking pads on, all right? It's not like he, did so much to him. I think it's just a frustration at the moment because like Kate said earlier, how many times are players going to watch this and do that dumb stuff?
I know.
I mean,
you would think, you know what? Kristen said the exact same thing. Oh my gosh, that drop. How many times does this happen before they learn? It's so
I mean, just follow through. Like you said, spike the ball, give the ball to your grandma or your aunt or somebody. I mean, I just don't, it's just almost to the point where now, Dane, I think it's just almost inexcusable.
Yep.
It's like there's no reason for this.
So I was watching this with my daughter and her boyfriend last night, and the one thing her boyfriend brought up that I thought was interesting was they're really clamping down on celebrating, and any kind of a happy joy after a good play. Was this, if they were allowed to do that, would he have done what he did? Like, was he preempting the fact that he's not going to be allowed to showboat or do it?
But why
Like, they're
drop
not
the
doing a
ball?
lot of things. I
don't think he
don't
meant
know that
to.
it was the right way to do it.
It's
but
so baffling. It's just, like I said, you see it over and over, and we've
Right.
seen it like the last 2 years of players doing this, and you would just think that as a player, you'd in the back of your mind like, oh, I'm not going to be on
I wouldn't
Sports
let
Center.
go of that football for anything.
Right.
You
Yeah,
would have to
no.
try it from my cold dead
It's
hands
your
even
baby.
after I get to kick the extra point. Like,
So Big Red says, while it's unprofessional, he's talking about what the coach did, it does send a message, and they're getting paid too much money to make dumb errors.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. I understand where that thought process is coming from. I will say this though, that coach is so on the hot seat that he's letting his own emotion take over his leadership. That's a bad look. That team is not going to tolerate that, because they're trying to get these guys up for these games, not beat them down. And so, yes, I agree. It was so stupid. And the kids should hold on to the ball like a baby. Kate, like you said, it's your child. Hold on to it, right? But it was crazy. Yeah. So not good for the Arizona Cardinals, who are sitting at 2-3 right now. I will say this, and I, might have a little bit of bias, but when you look at all of these different divisions, there are some divisions, the AFC South, which we are going to talk about, that are, have all these great teams in them. The NFC West is going to be the most competitive. You have the Niners sitting at 4-1, which I still, again, have no idea how that's happening. Who now have a quarterback controversy. Anybody want Brock Purdy? You can have him. The Seahawks are at 3-2. The Rams are at 3-2, and the Cardinals at 2-3. This is the division that is going to come down to the end of the season, right? Like, unless these injuries, Seattle was absolutely hammered with injuries during that Buccaneers game. Like I said, I think 6 of their defensive starters are out right now. Not for this day-to-day, week-to-week. They have some tweaks. You know how that all works. San Francisco, too, has a ton of injuries. They just seem to get the best. Maybe that's where that easiest schedule in the NFL is going to come in real handy for them. The Rams, they just kind of keep stepping on themselves a little bit, and then the issues with the Cardinals. So it'll be real interesting to see kind of where that ends up going, and if these injuries start catching up with these different teams. We have in the North that we have the 4-1 Lions. They look great. They really look to be kind of back, and we're on the top of a lot of people's power polls this week. And then the Buccaneers, 4-1. I think that, and yes, this is what we are going to talk about, Spencer Rattler. So, who did very well this week. That is for our good friend Big Red. But the Buccaneers, I said this last week. I was on a couple of different Seahawks podcasts last week. They're a feisty team. They're a team that is going to fight for every inch, every movement, every point, and they are not going to give up. Baker Mayfield is playing at a level that I have not seen, and they had so many. My God, their injury list was like 3 pages long, right? And they still managed to win at the very end. That was, like I said, a fantastic game. But it's very impressive where the Buccaneers sit. The Saints finally get their first win with their Mr. Spencer Rattler. We're very excited for you, Big Red. They beat the Giants, and this is a Giants team that everyone assumed, Jackson Dart, he won last week. He's the savior. He's going to fix all the problems. Talk about a team that's going to start dumping players here pretty soon. The New York Giants are going to be one of them for sure. So that's it. Kristen says, I'm ready to see the Bucs crush the Niners. Me too, Kristen. I'm going to be cheering so loud for that. Let's go.
Not so fast.
I think so. Niners have hit the gold mine this year. Ironically, that's so true. Kristen says the Niners are lucking out every week. They're going to luck themselves into the playoff. Probably. So, Steven says, I hope you're able to breathe by the end of the season. I did have to go outside and pace during that game. You guys know how I am. I can't do it, right? Very so. Darcy then says the NFC West entirety has an easy schedule. It's true. The easiest in the league this year. 10 wins might not be enough in the NFC to make the playoffs this year. That's true. But Mina Kimes had a very good point after last night's game. She said, it's nice to see when the NFL actually has parity, because we're starting to see some teams we are not used to sitting at the top. And I went back and looked at our comments about the AFC South during our prediction show. And let me just tell you, we did not have a lot of faith in this conference or in this division. And look at them. Colts 4-1, Jaguars 4-1, the Texans 2-3, the Titans 1-4. The Titans got their win. We're so excited for them. But the Colts and the Jags, this is not who I expected to see being 4-1 5 games in. Lisa, we're going to get to you next on your Miami Dolphins next, but I want to know your thoughts on the Colts and the Jags and where this kind of came from.
My problem with the Jags are I'm still not sure if they're real. You know, okay. I'm still on the fence, and I'm even more on the fence after watching videos of the Kansas City players taking plays off. I'm kind of
Chris Jones, we see you, my friend.
Oh, we see you, Chris Jones. And it's weird. I don't know that whole scenario at the back end of it. I don't know if just something's going on with the Chiefs internally, team wise, because thinking about the game last night, they panned in on Chris Jones several times sitting on the bench, and the man just looked miserable. I mean, it's just this whole team chemistry's off.
Yeah.
So it's hard because I want to believe in the Jags, but at the same time, are the Jags for real or are the Chiefs just falling apart? You know, so it's kind of.
I mean, but the Jags are 4-1, so let's look at hard. I know. Let's look at who they've played. Mm-hmm. So we can go back. So they beat the Panthers, 26-10. Okay. Got that.
Under
beat the Bengals beat them 31-27. So
that was with Burrow.
Yes, okay. I think that was Burrow.
When he over 500.
Yeah. Then they beat the Texans. They beat the Niners. And so, and then they beat the Chiefs. So those Niners and Chiefs, I mean, it's something to look at. I get where you're coming from though, because we say weeks 4 to 6 is when you really know a team. Well, then we have to kind of believe what we're seeing. Yeah. I guess. So,
but God, we saw a really bad Chiefs team last night too.
I don't disagree with you.
It just looked, the players weren't 100% into that, or there would have been a full-blown blitz on that last play. Because here's my thing with,
he fell down twice, for God's sake, and they still didn't get him.
And the thing is obviously it was a passing play.
Then he got up again.
Chris Jones is
let you down. He fell back down.
Chris Jones is standing there. Chris Jones is standing there.
Chris Jones commented today a whole bunch of, we got to finish.
We,
no. But he said he thought someone else was going to get him. Like he was running towards other guys and there were other guys there and he's like, oh, they're going to get him.
No.
That's when the coach is going to tell you, don't assume anybody's going to get him. If nothing else, you run parallel to the end zone, the line,
and the line,
make sure nobody crosses it. He could have still thrown it. And if you think you're defending the pass, then you need to at least be by a receiver.
But you don't see the quarterback on his ass. You don't see the quarterback on the ground jump down. All he had to do literally was fall forward and touch.
Someone just had to touch him.
That's all he did, but he stood there. He stood there.
He did. He absolutely did. And when Warren Sharp posted that on Twitter today, I was like, am I seeing that right? Because I think we were also focused on watching Sunshine fall down twice and still managed to get a touchdown. I wasn't looking at Chris Jones. And when he put that up there, I was like,
it's such a bad look for the Chiefs right now. It's such a bad look because, like I say, same point. It's like, okay, do we give the Jags they really earned that touchdown? Did they really?
Yeah. Hell yeah, they did. It counts. That's all.
It counts. Understood. But
I said, I'd like coming up there. I thought the same thing at one point when he got up.
He said he panicked.
He looked to the official and he was like, "Oh shit! Nobody touched me. I'm still going."
And then he looked like one of the when you have those dreams where you're running and you're going nowhere. It looked like he was trying to do that when he was getting up. And then when they asked him after the game, he said, "I just panicked." He did. He was just panicked. It was like,
God,
but it worked out for him. So yeah, the Colts on the other hand, whew, that's a good one. That's a good one. I do. I think the Colts are for real. I really do.
Jonathan Taylor, I get more points out of that running back in fantasy football every single week than I do out of my quarterbacks. 30 points. 30 points. I love it. I'm 5-0 in 2 weeks.
Because I think Daniel Jones is like Sam Arnold with the Vikings. that year. I think he's fat. He's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good quarterback. Is he elite? No, obviously not. But he's still a good game managing quarterback that is making some great throws and some great decisions. They're not turning the ball over.
Right. That's the big key.
That's just so. So the Buccaneers Seahawks game for me was I was reliving the draft because Cleveland had to choose between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, and we took Baker Mayfield, and we all know how that worked out for us. Sam Darnold had better numbers. He had a better QBR rating. He had more touchdowns. He had 4 to Baker's 2. He did have an interception that hurt them, but he had more completions, a higher percentage, more yards. He was the better quarterback. Baker mans the better team.
But it took him how many teams, Kate?
With Daniel
Jones.
Jones.
I think that's the key.
How many teams
where they fit?
Exactly.
Now Daniel Jones has found a better team than what was with New York, and he's not making mistakes, and he's doing well, and you're seeing that with the Colts.
All right, so let's look at some of these comments. So we have Big Red says, Travis Kelce is really making me upset. I'm about to drop him from fantasy if he doesn't start showing me something consistently. Big Red, he's not going to. He should have retired this year.
Drop him.
Yeah, just
don't drop him. Don't drop him. There is an idiot in your league who will trade you something really good for him because they still know the name Travis Kelce. Yeah. So go find something else you want. Waller is a nice pickup at tight end. If you can't get him on waivers, don't listen to me, Lisa. I know you'll be upset. He's a nice pickup.
Yeah.
Go trade Travis with somebody else. He is already retired in his head.
All right. Bob says, I think the Jags are legit. The Chefs, which I love that you say that, are still a tough team to beat. I do. Patrick Mahomes is still hard to beat. I agree. And they have a couple of really good players. So I don't disagree with that. And Kristen says the Jags look so good. And then Bob says that the Jags Chiefs game was the most entertaining of the year so far. I don't know. That Bucs Seahawks game was really fun to watch. And then Big Red says, I honestly think Sunshine thought he was down. That's what we had posted already. And then Kristen says, oh, I didn't realize the Chiefs basically let him get the final touchdown. Go watch that.
Did.
Go. I retweeted it.
It's all over everywhere.
They sure did.
But I'll say something about the Jags with their new head coach and everything. Then I think I said it about the Jets last week. They don't give up. They were down 14-0 early, and they battled back, got themselves 7, and then they took the lead.
Well, they got turnovers.
They don't give up. They keep fighting, and as long as they keep fighting, eventually it'll turn over. Stop it, Dana. Go ahead.
Big Red with Sunshine's TD like a Make-A-Wish thing. Big Red. Oh my God.
Yes.
All right. This is what I want to talk about. What he said earlier. Big Red. Travis Hunter had a heck of a catch in that game. Travis Hunter, we talked about him. Could he play both sides of the ball? 30-some snaps on one side, 20 on the other.
Absolutely.
Playing both sides of the ball.
And they're doing it good with him. They're doing it well.
For the Manning cast.
I watched
both.
So I watched the Manning cast, and one of the things that Eli said that I thought was incredibly interesting, even though Eli said it, is that Travis Hunter practices all week with the defense. He does not take snaps with the offense in practice. When they go to put him in, they have a couple plays, and they just tell him, it's this formation, and you're doing this. And then he goes out with the offense because they want him to have that defense down. He's listed on the depth chart as a cornerback. And that's where they have him. And I think that's smart from a rookie contract dollars perspective and all of that kind of stuff. But I couldn't believe it. He doesn't practice at all, take snaps with the offense. He's just that gifted.
It's crazy. Oh, it was so impressive. I love the way. I didn't think he could do it, but he is definitely managing to pull it off. Okay. Now let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. So, okay, Lisa, take a breath. I promised Lisa that she could do this. Because Lisa, honest to God, this was all over all my social media all day. Why does Mike Macdonald still have a job? Now, he's not the only one. I think the Arizona head coach, I definitely think he could be looked at. I think that some of these other, why is Geno Smith still starting for the Raiders? Why? There's so many question marks running out there, swirling around there. But we said from the get, Mike Macdonald, hipster homebrewer, was on the hot seat before the season even started. Tell me what you think is going on in Miami.
I just think it's
legitimately, and then your emotion.
Legitimately, I think it's front office. I just think we have one of the worst front offices in the league.
Lisa, oh, whoops, that was wrong. She's a poor one off your homie, but this is the one I liked. Lisa rant.
Yes. Well, hopefully I'm gonna be ranting with Kate because she's got another shrimp quarterback who's 5'10". My biggest argument with everything that's going on for me is just no adjustments. I mean, this guy is supposed to be an offensive guru. We talked about Waller. That was a perfect stage for me to say he was burning it up the first 2 quarters. Well, the third, fourth quarter, Mike gets up there and says, well, they took it kind of away from me. You can't adjust to that. So let's just stop it.
Right.
I mean, it's mind-boggling. That's what the thing is. Another thing with me, and I will argue with people on Twitter about this, and I really don't give a damn what people think. I am tired of quarterbacks under 5 foot. Yeah. I'm tired of it. Yeah. I want a 6'2", 6'4" quarterback. Because what happens with me is with Tua, we are so limited with him right now because of his concussions, because of his health and stuff like that, where, and everybody's like, I just 100% believe that you need some mobility in this league now. You need a 3 and 5. You need a quarterback that can run 5 yards and move the chains. A Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I mean, every other quarterback. Gabriel did it, for Christ's sakes. In the Browns, he got out of the pocket and ran. You need that element to just extend a play. Maybe just get the first down, move the chains. Boom, we got a whole nose set of downs. We don't have that. We don't have it. It's not even if he just seems flustered. Tua just throws the ball. We got turnovers like crazy. But then everybody just starts throwing rankings at me and ratings like, oh, well, his quarterback rating. I don't care. I don't care if you throw win the game for me. Right. I don't care. If you throw 3 interceptions, just win the damn game in the fourth quarter. Call plays, adjust, do something. And that's the biggest thing down here. It's like we have an owner that he's so loyal to every single thing. And he just, to me, is surrounding himself with people that don't know their head. They're just so frustrating. They just don't. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground.
Right. So Shay, hi Shay, welcome. Says the adjustment was, and this is to the comment of there were no adjustments made. Let's not throw to Waller anymore. It just wasn't a good adjustment period.
Perfect, Shay. You're absolutely right. Yeah. You and I talk about it. It's the way it is. It's just this guy is, and they told him like, oh, he's a great offensive guy. Really? Is he?
Yeah. Then Shay said down here, he's loyal. The owner is loyal to the Dolphins being a moneymaker, which they are. Exactly. And that seems to be kind of the question mark here too.
There's one thing. Let me just say one thing real quick, and then my rant will be over. Me and Orlando Alzagari always talk about this. It's the Big O Showdown Miami, big popular, guy. His theory right now is Ross just doesn't care. Our stadium venue is such a moneymaker that the Dolphins don't need to win. Because this guy's making money hand over fist with all these venues, tennis, Formula One, stuff like that. The Dolphins are on the back burner down here now. And it's showing. And that's what he's getting the fans. And the fans are getting really pissed off about it because he's almost right. Because it's like not firing him shows that you don't give a damn about us. That you don't care. This guy's, we're almost hoping that the Chargers blow him out because maybe that might
be the catalyst.
The catalyst that might do it, But like I said, he's such a moneymaker. This team's such a moneymaker to stadium that he really doesn't need to fire him till the end of the season. And that's what Big O's biggest complaint is.
So Sue says, Coach seems so depressed, like he's not even knowing why he is there. He should step down instead of waiting to be fired. Now, no coach is going to step down from a head coaching job. They're just not going to do it. But I agree with her statement. And Kate, what do you think about this? He just looks like he's just been kicked in the gut daily and hipster homebrewer has always been kind of mellow and like go with the flow, but there's no spark there at all.
Well, if you want to win the game, you need to win the game and score more points on offense than they score on defense. Like that whole press conference from a nightmare ago, I was just like, is he okay?
He doesn't seem okay, does he?
He doesn't seem okay. It's almost like, You ever watch a TV show at like one of those Law and Order procedurals, and the kids have been kidnapped, and the parents are like trying not to tell anybody, and they're kind of like in this zone, and there's something not right with them? Like, that's what I thought of when I was seeing one of his interviews just a couple of weeks ago. Something's not right. Either he's trying to get fired and he can't figure out why they won't just fire him and let him go, or I mean, did he have a stroke? I don't mean that. Like,
no, he just. I think, to be honest with you, he probably just realizes he's in over his head, and he's not getting the support from the front office that he needs in order to fix it. Right? He just doesn't do it for sure.
And how do you tell people that? Right? Because
how do you say, "I'm sorry, my front office sucks"?
Right? Yeah, Shay and I
making me play Tua. And
yes,
there's nothing I can do
exactly. Shay and I have talked about it. And he knows in the chat here. His press conferences, in order to win the game, you have to win the game.
He said it. I listened to it twice.
I mean, at that point, if you're an owner, what are you doing? If you're an owner, aren't you embarrassed right now? I mean, honestly, if I'm, I don't know. It just makes no sense.
Kristen calls him Law and Order hipster homebrewer. So we're gonna name he's now hipster homebrewer Chung Chung.
Chung
For sure. Yeah, it's interesting. And the funny thing is there just seems to be a different feel with Miami. Yes, they aren't 0-4 like the Jets, but the Jets feel like they have this fire and they're figuring it out and that they're working on it. And Miami feels flat. Because
we've been here and done this. How many times have we done this? We did it with Ryan Tannehill, right? Mm-hmm. We had half the fan base that thought he was the next upcoming Dan Marino. Yep. We have Tua against the Tua haters against the Tua stands. I mean, it's like there's a pull both ways. I mean, you have people like you, like Dana, we talk about looking at the stats saying, well, he's still got a quarterback rating of this, but he can't win games.
Right.
I think that the stat was like, we are 3-19 against teams that are over 500. I mean, how does that coach still have a job with that kind of stuff?
So Sue put this out there. So the real question for Lisa is, what do you think they should do?
The problem is, I think our defensive coordinator is just as bad in over his head, like you guys said. It's just that the talent is here. We are so soft. This team is so soft. It's like cuddling a little. It's like cuddling a little baby bunny. Mm-hmm. And the whole league knows it, and they're a laughing stock of the team of leagues right now because it's like everybody's coddled. Tua's coddled. I mean, you got your quarterback up there going, well, I'm going to talk to them. Who are you? I'm going to talk. You need to sit down and analyze yourself.
Right.
And it's just, right now you need to find an interim coach, special teams coach. I don't care. The janitor, that comes to mind. Somebody, because just show, like, at least Kate's team made a draft, made a trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I'm ready to trade somebody. Let's trade somebody.
Listen, I have a few ideas. Seattle has a few players they wouldn't mind taking off their head. So, let's do that. There's a whole conversation about that.
I got Waddle. I got people. Come on.
I don't want Waddle. You can have Waddle. So Big Red says, kind of reminds me of Dallas with their coaches in the past. The team is being run on the field by the front office, not the coaches. And then Kristen, this is a really good point, Kristen. The annoying thing for the Dolphins is he, meaning I'm assuming she means hipster homebrewer, is going to go to a new team next year and absolutely crush it, and not as a head coach. The reason he got a head coach is that he is a coordinator at heart, and he was to go back to that.
He really wasn't the coordinator. He just came up with some designated designer plays.
Yeah,
but our offense is all motion. It's fast, is motion. And just watch the 49ers. That's everything. People in motion, coming in motion. Where's this guy going? Where's this guy? And it was great for a year. It baffled some people, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm looking at the list of the popular list of coaches that are on the hot seats. They've got Mike McDaniel on there. They've got Brian Daboll on there with the Giants, but he just put Daxon Dart in, and he's going to get a little leeway for that. Kevin Stefanski from my Browns is going to get more leeway than he should because he's going to argue the quarterback position.
Right.
Zach Taylor with the Bengals doesn't have Joe Burrow. Like, do you see a theme here? These guys that are on the list all have quarterback issues. I think Miami is the only place where it's not an injury, like in Cincinnati. Burrow will be back. Zach will be fine till Burrow comes back.
Yep.
In Cleveland, we're figuring it out with the rookies. Again, in New York, they're going to figure it out with Jackson Dart. In Miami, we've all figured it out. The front office won't let Mike fix it. And if he feels like his hands are tied, he's probably like, fire me so I can go somewhere else.
I'm out. Right. Agreed. Completely.
We had that year where our owner made us start Johnny Manziel, and that was another one of our head coaches that lasted 1 year because of the front office decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And
man, and then we didn't even bring up the fact Jerry Jones got fined for flipping off.
That's so funny.
I'm telling you,
funny.
They lost their ever-loving minds this week.
It was like the Twilight Zone NFL this week.
It was bizarre. And next week, I think it's just going to get even weirder. I don't know what's going on. All right, everyone. Well, that is our show for this week. Thank you guys for listening in. I know it was kind of all over the place, but there's so much. I mean, we'd need to really dissect all of this. We need like a 2-hour show. It would be like, it's crazy what happened this week. But next week, we will be back right here, same time, same place on YouTube every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, if you watch over on Twitter or on Facebook, please come over to the YouTube channel. Get in the comments. We love to chat with you guys. We love it, love it, love it. And most importantly, make sure you give the show a thumbs up and subscribe so you know when we are about to be on. We will see everybody next week. Good night, everybody.